The message came at 6:47 in the evening, just when I was standing in front of the mirror, adjusting my dress for my brother's wedding. My phone buzzed once. I almost ignored it, thinking it was another relative asking for directions to the hall. But something made me pick it up. Don't go to your brother's wedding. Check your husband's garage. No name, no number saved, just that one chilling sentence. At first, I laughed. It had to be a joke. Maybe one of my cousins trying to create drama on such an important day. I showed the message to my husband, Samir. He barely glanced at it and shrugged. Spam message, he said casually. People are crazy. He smiled, kissed my forehead, and told me to hurry up or we'd be late. But something about his eyes, they didn't look as relaxed as his voice sounded. I tried to brush the feeling away. Today was my younger brother's big day. For months, our family had prepared for this wedding. My mother had personally selected my dress. My father had been counting days with excitement. I couldn't let a random message ruin this. We stepped outside. Samir went to start the car. I stood near the gate, my heels clicking nervously against the tiles. The message echoed in my mind. Check your husband's garage. Why the garage? Samir rarely let anyone enter that space. He said it was messy, just tools, old boxes, and car parts. Whenever I offered to help clean it, he would quickly refuse. It's my territory, he would joke. But now, the joke didn't feel funny. As Samir reversed the car, I suddenly said, wait. I forgot my clutch inside. He looked annoyed for a split second, then nodded. Hurry up. I walked back inside. My heart was pounding so loudly I could hear it in my ears. Instead of going to the bedroom, my feet carried me toward the side of the house, toward the garage. The door was locked. Of course it was. I hesitated. Was I really going to do this? Distrust my husband on my brother's wedding day because of an anonymous text? But what if it wasn't random? I remembered the spare key hanging inside the kitchen drawer. My hands trembled as I took it. Each step back to the garage felt heavier than the last. The key slid into the lock smoothly. For a moment, I almost turned back. Then I twisted it. The door creaked open slowly. The smell hit me first. Dust, oil, and something else. Something unfamiliar. My eyes adjusted to the dim light. The single bulb in the corner flickered weakly. At first glance, everything looked normal. Old tires stacked against the wall. Toolboxes. A covered motorcycle. I felt stupid. What had I expected? A secret? A crime scene? I was about to close the door when I noticed something strange. Behind the large wooden cupboard, there was a small gap in the wall. A curtain. We didn't have any curtains in the garage. My breathing grew shallow. I stepped closer and pulled the cupboard slightly aside. It scraped loudly against the floor. I froze, afraid Samir might hear. But he was still outside, probably checking his phone. I pushed the curtain aside, and my world shattered. Behind that curtain was a small, hidden room. It wasn't big, just enough space for a mattress, a side table, and a woman. She was sitting on the edge of the mattress, staring at me with wide, terrified eyes. For a second, neither of us spoke. She looked young, maybe in her early 20s. Her hair was messy, her face pale. What is this? I whispered. She swallowed. You're his wife. The word wife sounded like a blade cutting through my chest. Yes, I said slowly. Who are you? Tears filled her eyes instantly. My name is Hira, she said. He told me you two were divorced. I felt the ground shift beneath me. Divorced? She nodded. He said you left him. That you were cruel. That he was alone. I couldn't breathe. How long? I managed to ask. 8 months. 8 months. 8 months of lies. 8 months of secret visits to this hidden room in our own house. Why are you here? I asked, my voice trembling. She looked down at her hands. I ran away from home. My parents didn't approve of him. He said he'd marry me soon. He said he was saving money. A cold realization crept over me. Do your parents know where you are? She shook her head. Outside, I heard the car horn. Once, twice. Samir was getting impatient. My entire life flashed before my eyes. The trust, the love, the late night talks, the promises. And all of it had been a lie. I stepped back, my hands shaking uncontrollably. Stay here, I told Hira. I walked out of the garage and locked it behind me. Samir leaned out of the car window. What took you so long? I walked toward him slowly. We need to talk, I said. Now. We're late. Yes, now. He saw something in my face that made him step out of the car. What happened? I went into the garage. For a split second, His face went pale. Then he forced a laugh. Why, I met Hira. Silence. His lips parted, but no words came out. I think you should explain, I said calmly, though inside I was breaking. It's not what you think, he began quickly. She needed help. She had nowhere to go. So you hid her in our garage? I asked, and told her we're divorced. He ran his hands through his hair. I was going to tell you. When? I snapped. After you married her too. He didn't deny it. That was the worst part. The truth was written all over his face. Tears blurred my vision, but I refused to let them fall. 8 months, Samir, I whispered. 8 months you've been lying to me. He tried to grab my hand. I pulled away. Don't touch me. The wedding music from a distant house echoed faintly in the evening air. My brother was probably waiting for me. My family must have been wondering why I hadn't arrived yet. And here I was, standing in front of a stranger I had called my husband. I got that message, I said. Who else knows? He looked confused. What message? I showed him my phone. He read it, his expression darkening. I don't know who sent this, he said. But I did. It had to be her. Hira. Maybe she had finally realized the truth. Maybe she wanted to expose him. Maybe she was tired of being hidden like a secret. I looked at the house we had built together. Or rather, the house I thought we had built together. I'm going to my brother's wedding, I said firmly. Samir blinked. What? I'm not letting your betrayal ruin my family's happiness. He opened his mouth to argue, but I raised my hand. When I come back, you won't be here. His face drained of color. You're overreacting. No, I said quietly. I'm finally reacting. I walked past him, took the car keys from his hand, and got into the driver's seat. For the first time in my life, I left him standing there. As I drove toward the wedding hall, tears streamed down my face. But beneath the pain, there was something else. Strength. When I reached the venue, the lights were glowing beautifully. My mother rushed toward me, worried. Why are you late? I forced a smile. Traffic. I hugged my brother tightly. He looked so happy, so hopeful about his future. And in that moment, I made a promise to myself. I deserved that kind of happiness too. Not lies. Not secrets hidden behind garage walls. Later that night, after the wedding ceremonies ended, I returned home. The house was silent. The garage door was slightly open. Inside, the hidden room was empty. The mattress gone. The side table gone. Samir's clothes missing from the cupboard. He had left. On the kitchen counter, there was a single note. I'm sorry. I stared at those 2 words for a long time. Sorry. As if that could erase betrayal. As if that could fix a broken marriage. I tore the note into pieces. That night, I didn't cry. I sat in the living room, replaying everything in my mind. The signs I had ignored. The late night, work meetings. The unexplained expenses. The distance growing between us. Love had blinded me, but the truth had set me free. The next morning, I called a lawyer. By the end of the week, I filed for divorce. Friends and relatives were shocked. Some blamed me, some pitied me, some whispered behind my back. But I didn't care anymore. Because I had opened that garage door. And when I did, I didn't just discover my husband's secret. I discovered my own strength. Sometimes, the most painful moments in our lives become the turning points we never expected. If I had ignored that message, if I had chosen blind trust over uncomfortable truth, I would still be living a lie. So if you ever receive a warning, no matter how small, don't ignore your instincts. Sometimes, the door you're afraid to open is the one that saves your life. And sometimes, what you see behind it will break your heart. But it will also rebuild you into someone stronger than ever before.